Hey, good afternoon, everyone. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. We're doing a little bit of live streaming here, social media, also on our website and our news and weather apps, just to give you an update of the weather situation that we got going on this afternoon. You've probably gotten some alerts if you're out towards the shoals, where we've had some stronger thunderstorm activity. If you can't hear me, I'm sure I'll find out about it, because you'll say you can't hear me. But I think we're all good to go here, so we're going to do some updates for you. As always with the live streaming, we keep it a little bit more casual than when we're on air on the TV side of things. If you have some questions, put those in the comments on Facebook. I'll also pull up, we should be live streaming on our YouTube channel as well. So if you have some questions for me while we go along, feel free to put those in the comments. This is our weather setup that we got going on this afternoon. We do have a large severe thunderstorm warning here that does encompass most of northwest Alabama. The storm, though, that's producing the potential severe weather is mostly confined in Lawrence County right now. So this is where the most active weather is. So yes, technically Florence, Russellville, you are within that severe thunderstorm warned area, but the strongest storm is actually in Lawrence County right now. And I would generally expect that this is what we're going to see occurring through this afternoon. Very large swaths of the area will be under severe thunderstorm warnings from time to time. Doesn't mean everyone within that zone will end up with super bad weather, but that's just going to be kind of the situation that we are in. So important that if you do get under a warning that you're also checking in with us. You're on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, monitoring the storms just to see where everything is relative to your location. And again, it's the northwest corner of the state where all the action is right now. Now, there is more activity back out to the west that we're going to take a look at that will also be swinging through before the afternoon is out. But right now, biggest storms are just west of Moulton. Lots of thunder and lightning with that, potential for some hail. We've seen that in some of these thunderstorms. We also have a cluster of a lot of rain, let's be honest here, across Giles, Lawrence, and Wayne County, southern Middle Tennessee. Everything that's developing, the main track on the activity is primarily off to the north and to the east. So what you see here is moving in that general direction. We'll take a closer look, though, in Lawrence County, zooming in on our storm here, again, northwest of Moulton. Very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning. Those are the little flash symbols that you see here, and the possibility for some gusty wind and some hail. So let's take a look at that potential. And I do want to stress as well, severe thunderstorm watch, I'll show you what that includes in just a moment. Tornado potential looks to be pretty low. There's not a ton of low-level spin in the atmosphere, which is an ingredient that you need in order to get a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So we are lacking that. And that's the reason why severe thunderstorm watch as opposed to a tornado watch, as it does look like the threat for seeing a tornado would be quite low. Here's a look at the hail potential. Might take a moment for this to populate, or if it doesn't, then that means that potential is kind of not there. There we go. So this is the areas where we're seeing perhaps some hail near Hatton, in between Hatton and Town Creek. Along Highway 24 west of Moulton, a couple hail cores being indicated by radar, potentially up to quarter size based on what the radar is analyzing here, and probably not that large, maybe dime to penny size hail in some of these cores that you see moving on through. And keep in mind, when there's your latest update and that hail signal has kind of dropped off, keep in mind quarter size hail is when you really start to have to worry about damage to vehicles in particular. If it's a little bit smaller than that, a little bit more difficult to put any dents in things. But again, that's a good sign. The hail core has kind of dropped just a little bit. Take a look at the wind inside of these storms, and I'm going to go and use a couple different radar looks. This is out of Columbus, Mississippi, the radar there. A couple areas of stronger wind showing up. Again, one side or the other Moulton within these thunderstorms. And the radar view out of Jackson County, again, showing the same thing here, a couple areas of potential stronger wind. One north of Moulton, going across alternate Highway 72, Alabama Highway 20 there in the northern part of Lawrence County, and then west on Highway 24, a little west of Moulton. Again, a couple spots where we're getting indications of some stronger wind. So those are the primary threats that we're going to be looking at out of these storms this afternoon. One's going to be hail potential. The other is going to be the possibility for seeing some strong wind gusts associated with these storms coming on through. Let me show you our severe thunderstorm watch area and what that does include, primarily west of I-65. Give me just a second to find that and pull it up. This goes until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So these are the counties that are included, all of southern Middle Tennessee, including Lincoln County, which is the one county that we are specifically responsible for, although we will cover storms here, other parts of southern Middle Tennessee, particularly if they're moving into North Alabama. And again, primarily I-65 westward. Limestone County, you're included. Morgan County, you are not. And everyone out here into the shoals, part of that severe thunderstorm watch. Again, it goes until 5 o'clock. Very possible we're going to get another watch at some point this afternoon that may cover other areas of northeastern Alabama before it is all said and done. But right now, that greatest threat is going to be back off to the west, where we have active weather right now. In fact, to show you the big picture, we do have some showers and storms that are trying to develop. I had a view in Madison County around Owens Crossroads a short time ago. A little bit of heavier downpour activity, parts of Jackson, DeKalb County. Really not a lot of lightning out of this. So this activity a little bit slow to really get going. Again, everything's been confined here out towards the shoals and on into parts of southern Middle Tennessee. And back out to the west, things are even more active back in that direction. So I do want to show you the bigger picture here of what we've got going on. So this is going to be kind of a regional look. All the pink boxes: Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, northwest Alabama, central northern Mississippi, back into northern Louisiana. Those are all severe thunderstorm watches. And you see the activity here. So it's kind of all over the place. This is not a situation where we got a big line of storms coming in from the west. We've got these individual clusters that are coming together. Some of these eventually are going to organize into some sort of lines. May see that happen with the activity here in northwestern parts of Alabama and into Middle Tennessee. Perhaps that forms into a little line. And then we are keeping an eye on what's happening back out to the west, northern Mississippi. There had been some severe thunderstorm warnings with this activity. Looks like now maybe a weakening trend with those storms. And what we had seen yesterday in some of the data was kind of what we've gotten. Some initial activity here for the early to mid-afternoon hours across Alabama, and then a line of storms coming at us out of Mississippi, heading into the late afternoon and early evening hours. So seeing that sort of come together, at least the way it was depicted. The timing a little bit different, though, than what was being shown yesterday. But again, some stronger storms do extend back into parts of northern and central parts of Louisiana. So we're not going to see this kind of one and done sort of thing. So we've got this initial batch of storms that's moving through. May see some more development that continues here in northeast Mississippi that will track across northern Alabama. Eventually, we're going to get this out of here, I think, heading into the evening hours. Not a ton of forcing in the upper atmosphere, providing some lift to keep things going. There's a little bit, but we're also really relying on the daytime heating, the warmth outside, to help thunderstorms kind of get going. So as we head into the evening hours, the expectation is a lot of this activity will start to diminish. The exception will be where we do get a little bit more organization and maybe some lines of storms coming through, which will be able to sustain themselves a little bit longer even after we head into the evening hours past peak heating. But again, so this is kind of the overall setup that we're looking at for this afternoon. Let me run through some data. I'm not going to stay on here continuously, as right now, we don't have a real significant threat. Certainly nothing real widespread. But let me take a look here, and I'm going to show you some of the modeling data and what it is suggesting as we head through the rest of this afternoon. All right, so this would be, this is just one model. It's already wrong. This is what we deal with the models. It's kind of frustrating for us as meteorologists sometimes. We know how the atmosphere works, how it's going to respond, but we also look at these models to give us guidance about where the storm's going to be, when are they going to be there, what sort of threats are they going to bring. And when you look at something like this, and it's obviously wrong, that decreases your confidence as to how things are going to transpire. So I'm not going to show you that one. So let me take a look at another model here. All the models are different. Well, this one also wrong, picking up on some of the activity in the northeast corner of the state, totally missing what's happening here, which surprises me because this model that I'm showing you is the one that said we'd have some afternoon development and then another line that would come through late afternoon into the evening hours. So this is one of the things that we kind of struggle with. So those are, I was hoping those would be a little bit more definitive. Those are models that update rather regularly. This is a little bit better, showing the activity southern middle Tennessee. So let's kind of march you through this. I talk about these models, they don't nail the details often, but they can give us a general idea of what the trend is going to be. So this is showing, again, some activity that we currently have in place, showing more coming in from Mississippi, so that what I showed you on the regional radar back to the west, that'll continue to swing through. So another batch will be coming through for you folks in the shoals through mid-afternoon. We head into the early evening hours. At that point, probably the strongest stuff will be in Sand Mountain. And then it's likely to lose a little bit of its punch as it moves through. Some lingering rain possible this evening, overnight tonight. And we are going to get another batch coming through tomorrow, so I'll briefly touch on that. Here's noon on your Saturday. This is going to be ahead of a cold front, which eventually that will move through, that will dry us out, that will bring it in to rainfall. And this is saying that front's going to be rolling through during the afternoon hours on Saturday. We do have a low-end severe weather risk for tomorrow as well that we'll be keeping an eye on as we head through your Saturday afternoon. A little less concerned about severe potential tomorrow because the expectation is that temperatures are going to be a good bit cooler. This is the latest update, by the way, on tomorrow's severe weather risk. And this came in probably not too long ago. I'm not sure the exact time. Usually these update around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So this is tomorrow's severe weather outlook that, again, is the most recent one that's come out here probably within the last hour. Just continue to show level 1 marginal risk, so not real concerned about severe weather potential heading on into your Saturday. All right, let me get you back here into the radar. Again, we'll start you with the wide view. I'm going to take a look at some questions. Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warning allowed to expire across northwest Alabama. Probably for a couple reasons. When we just first came on here, I showed you that the hail signal decreasing. There were a couple pockets of some stronger winds showing up, but perhaps not strong enough to warrant continued warning. So that warning has been allowed to expire. So no active warnings currently in place here for North Alabama. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings, Wayne, Lawrence, Giles County, southern middle Tennessee, but this activity near Pulaski, near Lawrenceburg, lifting northeastward on into more of middle Tennessee and away from North Alabama. But there are some stronger storms with some warnings back out here into northeast Mississippi that we're going to have to keep an eye on. And again, the primary concern is going to be for some strong wind gusts and the possibility for some hail as well. Again, another radar update here with 31 triple Doppler, strong storm near Moulton. We've got another thunderstorm, a heavy one coming in across the Bankhead National Forest there, southern parts of Lawrence County. Again, let me take a quick look here inside the storms. Let's one look at the wind velocity. Here's another opinion. Nothing that's real concerning in terms of storm rotation. There may be a little bit here close to Moulton, but again, we're really not set up for a tornado threat. There's another view of the wind field being picked up. And again, a little bit of rotation perhaps. I mentioned that because of the shape here near Moulton. So we're going to keep an eye on this. I'll be honest. It's caught my eye. Just a reminder what the colors mean. This is the radar out of Jackson County. Green color is blowing towards the radar, reds are away. So where we have that little appendage, we'll say, there does appear to be a little bit of circulation. All of this, though, relatively high up in the sky. This is the radar out of Columbus, Mississippi. Again, the green's toward the radar, red's away. Counterclockwise rotation here, so a little bit of that. Most storms that produce large hail are storms that are rotating. Quick look here at the Weather Service. And these storms have produced some hail. By the way, I've got meteorologist Amber Kulik here with me in studio. So, we're going to keep an eye on this. So there is a little rotation, again, that is showing up northwest of Moulton. That may, again, be a little bit more of a hail concern. And there you see where the hail is. It looks like we had a little, let me go back in time, just a brief spike there, an uptick in hail size with this storm. Again, what we're lacking is low-level spin in the atmosphere to really give us any sort of substantial tornado threat. Just checking out, this is our radar out of Decatur. Again, picking up on some rotation just north of Moulton. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Let me check the comments here. I think we have too many people. Middle of the afternoon on a Friday. A lot of folks are still probably at work. There you saw the latest update out of Decatur. So there's still something there, not quite as well defined in the latest scan update. And I think I'm going to keep it on our Decatur radar, because that's going to give us the more frequent updates. And probably mostly a hail threat at this point in time. On the WAAY 31 Facebook page now, checking out the comments. Mostly just a lot of people checking in from where they're watching from. If you've got some pictures of, if you've seen some hail, we'd love to see that. You can either post in the comments or just shoot us an email as well. You can send that to share@waaytv.com. That's one of the easier way to get things to us. Also implied in that we have your permission to show it, versus if you put it in the comments, then we have to ask you if we can re-show it, that sort of thing. So always sending to share@waaytv.com is probably the easiest and quickest way to get us pictures of storms, damage, that sort of thing, so that we can quickly turn that around and share that with other folks. Again, our Huntsville Decatur radar, looking at the wind velocity, again, there was a little signal there of some rotation kind of going away. That's good. Also could be as the storm's getting closer. A lot of times what we'll see with these signatures of rotation, it's in the mid and upper levels of the storm. It's not in the low levels of the storm. And you can see that by as the storm gets closer to radar, that rotation signal disappears as the radar is scanning lower in the storm. So again, we're not super concerned about a tornado threat. Won't rule it out. I never say never, but the atmosphere is not just real set up and conducive for that, in this sort of situation. Certainly nothing that would be sustained and long-lived. Maybe brief, and that would be about it. All right. Okay, let me back out the view here. It's an interesting storm. I mean, I will say that. Has an interesting look. Again, a little circulation is what's causing it to look like this near Moulton. We're also likely seeing, these more organized storms they do have on the southwest flank. They'll have a strong push of wind coming out that can kind of interact with the circulations, and we are likely seeing that, this little bowing feature on the west side of Moulton, so perhaps some strong gusty wind coming into Moulton as well. And again, the possibility this is going to put down some hail. There is a hail core associated with it just north of Moulton. Nothing that looks super big at this point in time. And then it's just another radar product. We've got it labeled rotation, and it's more wind shear in the atmosphere. It can be kind of a second look at where there are areas of rotation or perhaps areas of strong straight line wind. Again, this may take a moment to populate with the newest data, so bear with me as we kind of wait on that. And again, if nothing shows up here, then that's a good thing. So I don't know, maybe nothing's going to show up. Another look. So again, not super concerned, but it is something that we're going to keep an eye on. In our Decatur radar, it's tracking right in that direction, kind of showing the same thing. Little rain kind of being wrapped around where we are picking up a little bit of rotation in this storm. There's our velocity product. Again, not a real strong signal, but right here, northeast of Moulton, just a little touch of spin. As I kind of back this out in time, though, there it was a little bit more significant back here towards Muck City. And then as the storm has gotten closer to where the radar is located, it's kind of disappeared. So again, as we're scanning lower and lower in the storm, we're not seeing that rotation show up. So again, something we're going to watch, we'll keep an eye on, but one of the things that you need, some of these storms are going to have a little rotation with them, but you also need some low-level spin. Lowest kilometer or so of the atmosphere, there has to be some ample spin for basically the storm to ingest, and then that can interact with the overall rotation on the larger scale within the thunderstorm, and then that can contribute to more in the way of low-level rotation. So we're lacking that. We're lacking that spin to tap into in the lower part of the atmosphere. So I think that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. A little rotation in these storms, that is often something you see in storms that produce hail, particularly larger hail potential. But as far as the tornado threat, we're just not super concerned that that's going to be an issue. Definitely a stout storm. Again, currently not warned. Very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. Again, north of Moulton towards Hillsboro. And again, this is tracking its way mostly off to the east and the northeast. Let me get a look here. And I'll actually track this out for you. So these are moving northeast, looks like about 40. So let's show you where this then is going to go out of Lawrence County. So this will be heading through the Athens-Decatur area. Again, heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty wind, perhaps some hail as well. Trinity 135, Decatur 146, Athens around 148. Time right now 128. The Mooresville area 157 into Madison by 207. If this one continues to hold itself together as it moves in that general direction. And it's got an interesting look. That look that we talk about, that little hook where the moisture and the precipit's kind of being wrapped around, a little bit of circulation. But again, all indications are this is in the mid and upper levels of the storm, not in the lower levels of the storm. And again, no thunderstorm warning on this at the moment, just being listed as a strong storm. As again, it looks like the hail, not particularly large. There you saw the latest scan update. Here's our Decatur radar. Again, checking out the wind velocity, just nothing that's showing up in the low levels of the storm that I'm concerned about at this point in time. All right, so we've got those two storms. These are coming towards the I-65 corridor, so Athens, Decatur. Kind of get ready for some heavier rain coming on in, some thunder and lightning, maybe some smaller hail, some gusty wind with this one. Might make it to Madison, Huntsville. Got another storm, southern part of the Lawrence County over the Bankhead National Forest. Probably will make for lots of pretty waterfalls there this weekend with the rain coming down there. I hear that's a very pretty place to see lots of waterfalls there at Bankhead National Forest. I also know it can be a little tough to navigate as well, which is why I've never ventured out, but might have to do that at some point. Another strong storm coming into Franklin County. We've already had a ton of rain here, Franklin County, earlier, and there is more. Strong storm near Red Bay. This one's tracking northeast. It'll hit you towards Russellville and probably up into southern parts of Colbert County, as this one also moving northeast about 40, and let's kind of track it out. So you may get another batch coming through the shoals. This is the timing of it. Russellville 147, Muscle Shoals a little bit after 2 in the afternoon. Florence 216, the Underwood Petersville area 218, Killen by 226. Again, not severe. Heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, maybe some wind gusts, 40 miles per hour, and perhaps some smaller hail out of this one as well. And again, this area does remain under a severe thunderstorm watch until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Quick check of the hail product. Again, nothing outrageous. A little bit of hail being indicated back towards Red Bay. There you see your small hail cores northeast of Moulton, Bankhead National Forest. Again, nothing that's really jumping out as being particularly significant in terms of hail production at this point in time. And another look here. This is the wind shear product. Rotation. It's not seeing any strong signals of that. So again, some good news. Storm's likely rotating just a little bit, which is why they're producing some hail. But that rotation is not something that's showing up in the low levels of these thunderstorms. So again, some good news. Do have some warnings back out here into northeast Mississippi. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning for the storm coming into Red Bay, but Weather Service in Huntsville has not extended that. This part of Mississippi covered by, I think, the Memphis National Weather Service office. So they have a couple warnings here from west to Red Bay, back into northeast Mississippi, Guntown, Boonville area, a little north of Tupelo. These are coming northeast. Looks like one warning just dropped there, was allowed to expire. Probably the same thing will happen with this one. So at this point, just some heavy storms moving into the northwest corner of the state with at least some limited potential for some severe weather. And we look out back to the west. Of course, we're not going to have as good of a radar view here, but you get the general idea. More storms back into northern Mississippi. But at the moment, looks like most of these west of Tupelo, no warnings associated with them. All right, let me check in on the comments again. Again, lots of people just checking in with their location. Like I said, if you have a specific question I might be able to answer, put those in the comment. Now's the time to do it. We have a little bit more flexibility when we're just tracking storms with a limited severe weather threat versus when we're tracking storms with a significant severe weather threat or tornado potential. I'm going to check here on our YouTube channel just to make sure we are on. Okay, we are. So I just want to remind you, I mean, multiple places where you can get weather information from the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather team when we are covering severe weather. Again, social media, Facebook, my Facebook. We're live streaming on Amber's, Grace's Facebook page right now, the WAAY 31 Facebook page. We're live streaming on our YouTube channel as well, the WAAY 31 YouTube channel. As well as our website and our news and weather apps, I believe. So let's see. Just checking out YouTube. Not. All right. Okay, let me kind of reset everything. So this is the view we've got on radar right now. Fortunately, not a lot of warnings. We had some, an hour and a half ago, Amber. I had quite a few warnings out here into the shoals. Now, not anything too crazy at the moment. But some stronger storms. Again, one's coming into Athens, Decatur. So weather's going to go downhill shortly in that part of Morgan, Limestone County, Bankhead National Forest, south of Moulton. Looks like new severe thunderstorm warning across the state line into Mississippi. Very strong storm in Franklin County, Alabama, producing heavy rainfall, some small hail, and perhaps some gusty wind as that one is moving on through. A couple live looks here. This is in Muscle Shoals. This is our sky cam there. Check out our view in Decatur. I'll probably play around with that camera a little bit. Show you what the storm is looking like as it is coming into Decatur. All right, that's looking out over downtown. I think looking south. Let me turn this a little bit more to the west and the southwest. Bear with me just a second to connect to that camera and move it around. Probably, and I think we're kind of seeing it here. A little bit of a shelf cloud with the storm coming into Decatur. If you get a good picture of it, I'd love to see it. And here we go. So that's it. That's your storm approaching from Lawrence County from the southwest. Again, a little bit of a shelf cloud showing up here. There you see 31 triple Doppler. There in downtown Decatur. So again, we've got a shelf cloud coming out here. That's kind of the leading edge of the storm. And then back behind it, that's when you start getting into the very heavy rainfall associated with that thunderstorm. So that's what that view looks like right now. Out of Decatur. And the storm at the moment is non-severe, just a strong storm coming into Decatur. Has had a little structure on it at times in terms of a bit of rotation being indicated. I will say though, okay, here's a storm losing its punch just a little bit. Now, keep in mind, our severe thunderstorm watch starts Limestone County, goes back to the west. So there's a reason for that, in that the atmosphere, as you head a little bit more east of I-65, not quite as conducive for storms to get organized. Case in point, this one now doesn't even have a lot of lightning with it. So we are starting to see this storm actually diminish pretty quickly near Hillsboro, whereas it was producing just 15 minutes ago. A lot of lightning. So it's entering an environment here towards the I-65 corridor that appears to be not quite as conducive for storms to maintain themselves. Hence, this one is weakening. Again, not nearly as much lightning. I'll back out the view here in time. I'll take you back a little bit. Again, these storms were much more electrical. There you see the lightning strikes when it was coming out of Franklin County into Lawrence County. Even still here when it was around Moulton, you can see all the lightning strikes associated with it. And now that it's heading into Limestone County, Morgan County, starting to see a decrease in some of that lightning activity. So the storm appears to be weakening just a little bit. Again, not a warning on it. Same south of Moulton and out here into Franklin County. But storms are producing some heavy downpours and occasionally some small hail and perhaps some gusty wind as well. So with that in mind, just run a quick look here again. Just to make sure we don't have any questions. Let's see, I got a comment. John, today's your birthday. Happy 36, John. And mostly just people glad that we're watching and keeping an eye on things. So I think with that in mind, no active warnings at the moment. We got some strong storms packing a little bit of a punch as they're moving through. I'm going to leave the radar up here for just a few more minutes, but then we're likely going to stop the live stream here for the time being and be back on in case things start to ramp back up just a little bit. But the good news is at this point, looks like the storms are staying below severe limits. We'll keep an eye on it. And also keep in mind, yes, we've got more storms coming in from Mississippi, but remember, one of the things I mentioned, one of the things that's playing into the storm development was the daytime heating. We've already had quite a bit of rain that's come in here across northwest Alabama. That's done a number on the temperatures. It's only 68 in Haleyville. Moulton, Muscle Shoals, you've dropped into the low 70s compared to Huntsville and eastward. It's been relatively quiet. We're running a little closer to the 80-degree mark. So east of I-65, a little more energy in the atmosphere, a little more instability, a little more fuel for storms because we've not really had much rainfall. So temperatures are running close to 80. Back out here in the northwest corner of the state, yes, we had some initial storms around midday. Ate up some of that energy, dumped some rain. We've kind of cooled off here just a little bit. So you know, even though we do have more activity out here in Mississippi, south of Tupelo, relatively undisturbed atmosphere, so that's why that storm has a severe thunderstorm warning. But there's other activity in northeast Mississippi that is going to be coming into northwest Alabama. It's coming into an environment that's already been hit by one round of storms and kind of sucked up some of the energy. So we may be looking at least a temporary lull in any real strong storm activity out here for the short term. And then what we're going to have to watch through late afternoon is what some of this does to the west as it hits I-65 and points eastward. And we'll see if there's a flare-up through the late afternoon hours. And again, as I mentioned, it's entirely possible we may get another severe thunderstorm watch that covers areas along and east of I-65. Right now, the watch primarily to the west. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of wrap up the live update here for the time being. But just keep in mind, we're watching. If you have it on WAAY 31, the TV side of things, we've got our little information scrolling at the bottom of the screen for any sort of warnings that would come out. You can track the storms with 31 triple Doppler on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app, and of course look for some updates there through the afternoon hours. But again, right now, things are kind of behaving themselves, which is what we like to see. Primary concern out of any additional storms coming through this afternoon, whether it be northwest Alabama or especially east of I-65 a little bit later this afternoon, is going to be for some strong wind and some potential hail. But we're going to be here watching. Me and Amber will be hanging out in the Weather Center, keeping an eye on things. And if we start getting some more warnings out of some of these storms, we'll jump back on with some more live updates here on social media and also on our website and our news and weather apps. But for now, I think we're going to step away for a moment, but we'll certainly keep an eye on the weather through the rest of this afternoon.